At the end of September 2019, I started my bachelor studies in multimedia art at the School of Applied Sciences here in Salzburg. My focus is set on the branch film, and a few weeks into the semester, our film professor told us that we'll already be shooting a film during this semester. As he explained later on, our assignment is to shoot a documentary. Now, January 2020, we just presented our product a few weeks ago, and in this video I want to reflect on the process of making this film. Let's go! So back in mid-October, our film professor gave us the assignment guidelines. Yeah, that's it. We asked him a few more specific questions, but he wanted to keep the whole project rather open. He said it can be a doc about anything, and the length also doesn't really matter. The school provided us with camera gear to shoot the film. Each group was allowed to have the gear for one day. So we students formed groups, and we ended up becoming a group of 8 people. 2 people, Sarah and I, were film people. The other 6 were from other branches, 5 designers and 1 3D animation guy. We sat together and contemplated what to shoot a documentary about. After a week of contemplation, Sarah turned out to live next to this guy who works at a hat maker. She suggested that we shoot a short doc about that hat business, and after we all agreed, she arranged a day to shoot with them. So that was step 1, coming together and finding out what to shoot. Step 2 was planning and finding out what we're really going to shoot. We collectively searched topics to go into. At this point, we kinda naturally found our director for the team, Sarah. She already knew a lot about documentary filmmaking and acted as a leading force in the group. We came up with a number of topics and questions, and in a following discussion in the group, we organized and reduced those questions to the most interesting. With that planned out, we were almost set up for the shoot. The only thing missing was the crew department allocation. Because I was the only film guy after Sarah, who was already directing, I was chosen to be the camera operator. The other members got briefed well on their department by Sarah, so we had Anna for the light, Steffi for the interview, the other Anna as a runner, Luca and Tristan for sound, and Vroni for behind-the-scenes photography. On the 28th of October it was time to shoot. We had planned to appear at the location shortly after noon, and so we did. As we got there and the production started, we immediately ran into our first issues. Firstly, the business owner had expected us to be finished in 2 hours, which is seriously impossible. And secondly, when I was setting up the camera, there was a part missing which was actually supposed to hold the monitor. The first issue was luckily solved as she, the owner, realized that this is indeed a serious production and that it'll take a while. My camera monitor problem I solved with a sketchy, inelegant solution, but it worked. We started filming and the next problem arose. This issue more or less just concerned me because I was the camera operator, however, it was my first time shooting with that camera. The camera the school gave us was the Sony FS7. In class we had briefly went over the camera, and apart from that I didn't really know anything about it. At first shooting was alright, but at one point the image was way too blue, the white balance was far off, and the problem I then faced was that I had no clue where to change the white balance on this camera. Lucky for me, as I spoke out my problem to the crew, our film professor was on set himself to check on us if everything is going smoothly, and he could then show me the ridiculously hard to find switch for the white balance. To our all surprise, after that everything went pretty well. We had Leon, the hat maker, show us around and make a hat in front of the camera for us to capture B-roll. After shooting that, we set up the interview with him, and when that was done, it was the business owner's turn to be interviewed. Lastly, we captured some extra B-roll. Sarah asked if she could take over the camera for a while, and then she did her thing. She got some amazing B-roll. The day came to an end and we left pretty much on time. Back on the campus, we returned all the gear and saved our footage on multiple hard drives. So that was production. At the end of the day, while our footage was copying, we collectively reflected on the work we did, and we came to the conclusion that we actually all did quite a good job. Apart from the few minor issues we encountered, the shoot went quite smoothly. So with production being done now, we had the next 2.5 months from now until the 16th of January to edit our film. Naturally, Sarah and I, the only 2 film people, took over the role of the editors and decided to do it together. The editing process was new to me. I hadn't ever edited with an editing partner. Sarah and I also turned out to have quite different workflows, but Sarah was incredibly adaptable. The workflow we then mostly stuck to was me on the mouse and the keyboard for the execution of the edits, while Sarah and I discussed together what our thoughts are and how we want to continue the film. Here again, it was great to have Sarah in this director's role because she knows a lot about story editing, whereas my focus is more on the technical aspects of editing. On the last day before the presentation, we gave the film the finishing touches and it was ready to be shown. On the 16th of January, we finally presented our film in front of the other students and the professor. And now, after completing the film and presenting it, I thought it's about time to reflect on the whole process, the end result, and also publish the film here on YouTube for you guys and girls to see. Looking back at how everything went, I am highly appreciative to have been part of such a good team. Everyone was able to work together as a team and make this assignment an unobstructed process. However, one thing I would like to try differently is the editing workflow. Even though the team editing with Sarah worked well, I think I would prefer to have a fixed editor on the team, who then adapts the film according to feedback. Due to us being two editors editing the same film together, this did make us noticeably slower. I absolutely don't want to make this sound like I didn't enjoy the editing sessions with Sarah, but I think a single editor just would have been much faster. But I might be wrong, we'd have to try it out on the next project. And now, looking at the end result, I'm quite satisfied with the outcome. I think Sarah and I definitely nailed the imagery and aesthetic of the film. I really like the look of it. The main thing I see potential for improvement in is the story itself. Our film seems to be more like a presentation of that hat business, less an actual documentary story. I don't know yet exactly how we could have done it differently, or maybe documentaries are just not my genre, I don't know. But I can imagine that this film could be rather boring for some people who would hope for more storytelling in the film. Anyway, if you haven't seen the short doc yet, I uploaded it on the channel last week, and I'd love to know what you think about it and receive some constructive feedback. That's it with this recap. I hope it was interesting to you and you could find some value in this video. If so, leave a like, and if you want to see more content like this, feel free to subscribe, and I hope to see you again next week. Goodbye.